We begin tonight with a developing story. The United States military has started a wave of airstrikes in retaliation for the drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 Georgia soldiers. According to U.S. Central Command, the strikes were launched against more than 85 targets in Iraq and Syria. This evening, President Biden warned, quote, "If you harm an American, we will respond," end quote. Military leaders say the strikes were delivered by numerous aircraft, including long-range bombers flown from the U.S. The targeted sites were used by Iranian-backed militias and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Quds Force. Just hours before the strikes, President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden attended the dignified transfer of the Georgia service members. Staff Sergeant William Rivers of Carrollton, Sergeant Kennedy Sanders of Waycross, and Sergeant Brianna Moffitt of Savannah were all killed in the drone attack. Today, Rivers was posthumously promoted to Staff Sergeant. Reporter Willie James Inman is in Washington with today's tribute and more on the strikes.
CBS News has confirmed that the U.S. on Friday launched retaliatory strikes on Iranian-supported targets in Iraq and Syria. President Biden ordered the strikes involving U.S. B-1 bombers. The wave of airstrikes on about a half a dozen locations comes days after a drone attack killed 3 American troops at an outpost in Jordan. Earlier, the remains of 3 American service members returned to American soil, with President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden joining the families of the fallen soldiers for the solemn event. On Thursday, the president paid tribute to the fallen troops.
They risked it all, and we'll never forget the sacrifices and service to our country, that the dozens of service members who were wounded and are recovering now.
Sergeants William Rivers, Kennedy Sanders, and Brianna Moffitt were killed in the drone strike that the U.S. blamed on an Iran-backed group. More than 40 other U.S. troops were wounded. The remains of the soldiers go from Dover Air Force Base to their final resting places.
The strikes took place over 30 minutes, and the 3 of the sites were struck in Iraq, 4 were in Syria. That's according to the military. After the strikes, President Biden said, quote, "Our response began today. It will continue at times and places of our choosing," end quote.